There's no denying the fact that the top boxers in the world rake in some serious cheddar. For instance, Floyd "Money" Mayweather has amassed a $450 million fortune thanks to his prowess as a boxer, which has catapulted him to the pinnacle of the boxing world. Legendary Filipino boxer Manny Pacquiao has an estimated net worth of $220 million, and his pay-per-view events have ranked in more than $1 billion. So naturally, this begs the question, why do boxers get paid so much money? Stay tuned and don't go away, because you're about to find out. So why do boxers make so much money? Let's take a look. The short answer can best be summarized by looking at the comments from boxing promoter Gary Shaw, who said that boxers are the promoter, regulator, sanctioning body, everything. Boxing purses are higher because we don't have a league. Shaw, who was once a UFC promoter, said the reason that boxers are at the highest levels makes more than UFC stars, for instance, is because UFC is their own league and they appoint their own champion who's going to fight for the title. One of the best ways to try and understand how much boxers get paid is by taking a close look at their pay structure and revenue streams. Professional level boxers have various income streams, and there are numerous factors that affect a boxer's total income. In a sense, a boxer is his or her own business. That's probably one of the simplest explanations. Boxers will often receive a yearly salary that is dependent on how many fights they'll have each year. There's also the endorsement deal factor and the popularity factor. The promotion part of the boxing business is comparable to show business, in the sense that hype, marketing, and popularity play a major factor in how much money boxers will make. The same hype and popularity affect how much money a film can earn at the box office. So while a boxer's skill level is important, in the end, how much a boxer can earn depends on how much public interest there is in seeing the boxer fight. So how much do professional boxers really earn? The average annual salary for a professional boxer is just over $51,000 US. But to put this into perspective, this means that half of those boxers will earn less than that. And how much do the lowest paid pro boxers earn on average annually? Just over $19,000. The reality is the vast majority of boxers, roughly 99%, will never make $1 million per year. It's only 1% of the world's most elite boxers that will surpass the $1 million per year mark. Like show business, the boxing biz has traditionally been viewed as a ruthless, cutthroat business. Many boxers will rise to the top, make $1 million, and then fade into oblivion. So it's very much a fly-by-night affair. Elite boxers will typically fight only twice per year because it takes a great deal of time to set up high-end bouts. A lot goes into the promotion and marketing phases, and this can take months of preparation. Remember, for the big money prize fights, it's all about hype, hype, and hype. The more interest there is means more popularity, means more pay-per-view subscriptions, which translate to millions in cold hard cash. And in some extraordinary cases, these elite fighters can make millions in a matter of minutes. The bout ends in a quick first-round knockout. We've got more exciting info from the boxing world coming right up, so stay tuned and don't go away. So how are these multi-million-dollar prize fight purses divided up? When a boxing match is scheduled, both fighters will earn a portion of what is referred to as the bout's fight purse. The fight purse is made up of all the pooled funds that the promoter has for the event. After the fight, the fighters will then split the purse. The most popular fighter in a given matchup will typically take the lion's share of the fight purse. After the split, the fighters will then pay a fee to their trainers. The fee is usually 10%. After paying their trainers, boxers then have to pay their managers, and this can be anywhere from 10% to 35% depending on the arrangement. And of course, after all these fees are paid, boxers will then have to pay taxes. Another source of revenue for boxers, like many professional athletes, comes from endorsements. If you've ever seen a boxing match, then you may have seen various logos around the boxing ring or on the boxing trunks of fighters. These brand logos will pay fighters large sums of money to endorse their brands. Some boxers will have product endorsement deals as well as commercials that could pay out a lot of dough. So, who are some of the richest fighters in the world? Let's have a look. Who better to start with than one of the most controversial boxers in the world that really needs no introduction, Mike Tyson. After a colorful career, Tyson has a net worth of roughly $10 million. Tyson actually earned more than $300 million in fight purses, but he blew his money in dozens of ways. Things ranging from drugs, women, and gambling. Out of 58 bouts, Tyson Tyson won 50 of them and garnered a reputation as a vicious brawler who loved to hurt his opponents and knock them out. With Tyson, his fights weren't just a job or a sport, they were personal, an opportunity to vent his anger and frustration. Even outside of the ring, Tyson acquired a reputation as a man with a hair-trigger temper and was involved in numerous run-ins with law enforcement and enjoyed berating reporters and members of the press in particular. Another elite boxer to break the $1 million mark is Ricky Hatton, who's built a net worth of $40 million. Hatton boxed from 1997 to 2012 and ironically was a businessman prior to entering the brutal world of pro boxing. Hatton had a total of 47 bouts and won a total of 45 of those bouts. Talk about impressive. $1 Million Club member and pro boxer Carl Froch, who hails from the United Kingdom, has earned a net worth of $20 million from 2002 to 2014. Believe it or not, Froch started boxing at 9 years old. As a result of his prowess as a boxer, Froch earned himself the moniker the Sheriff of Nottingham. As a pro boxer, Froch had 35 bouts and won a total of 33. What's impressive though is that those 33 wins, 24 came by knockout. Next up, we'll look at more members of the elite boxing world's $1 Million Club. Let's take a minute to talk about Dr. Iron Fist, Ukrainian World Championship boxer Vitaly Klitschko, and his impressive 90% knockout average. Dr. Iron Fist became the world heavyweight champion 3 times and holds a record as one of the longest WBC heavyweight champions in the world. For his efforts, Dr. Iron Fist has built a $65 million fortune and will go down as one of the toughest European boxers ever to step into the ring. Ironically, today Dr. Iron Fist has settled down and is the mayor of the city of Kyiv. One famous fighter who has wowed audiences for decades is Manny "Pac-Man" Pacquiao. Pacquiao started boxing at 14 and by 16 he turned pro. He has a record of 65 fights and out of those won 57, 38 by knockout and 2 draws. Incredibly, Manny holds the record as the only fighter in the world to win titles in 7 separate weight classes. Today, Pac-Man has settled down somewhat and is a senator in his home country of the Philippines. As we mentioned, Pac-Man managed to punch his way to a fortune in excess of $200 million. South of the US border in Mexico, another boxer fought his way to a $200 million fortune. Oscar the Golden Boy de la Hoya fought between 1992 and 2008. De la Hoya, who comes from a family of boxers, won an Olympic gold medal for the US in 1992 and left his mark on the boxing world. Of his 45 professional fights, the Golden Boy won 39. De la Hoya retired in 2009 and today spends his time as a professional boxing promoter. Lastly, who were the 2 wealthiest boxers in the world? Let's take a look. Born in 1949, one of the wealthiest boxers in the world is an old school boxer known as Big George, aka George Foreman, who fought legends like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Today, Joe is worth $300 million, but over $130 million of that actually came from putting his name and brand on a world-renowned appliance called the George Foreman Grill. Foreman was world champion not once, but twice, and even won an Olympic gold medal. Finally, we'll talk about Floyd "Money" Mayweather and his staggering $450 million nest egg that will only keep growing and growing. At the time of this recording, Mayweather commands approximately $300 million per fight, and his total earnings over the course of his career are in excess of $1 billion. He is the 5th highest paid athlete in the world. Mayweather finds himself in a very special class of elite athletes, along with race legend Michael Schumacher, golfer Arnold Palmer, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, and Jack Nicklaus. Remarkably, more than 90% of Mayweather's income comes from boxing alone, and only 10% comes from endorsements and investments. That's a wrap for this video, folks. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we have a lot more sports and entertainment videos coming your way.